Hi everyone, it's Josh here from Impact Teaching in a little bit of a chilly York. Arnold and I just came up for a presentation at York St John University, and now we are planning to head to a cafe somewhere in that castle, around that castle, and we are going to have a little debate about which is a better destination, China or Thailand. Let's see.
Okay, so we couldn't find a cafe, we did find a pub with a cup. So I'll kick it off. China. I think for me, China is a place because it's just an unprecedented place, like in terms of what's happening in China for the past few decades. It's incredible. Like I worked there, I don't recognize what it used to be to what it is now. It's just such fast development, it's so exciting, there's always something new happening. China's basically become a world power. Well, it already was when I worked there, but even all the more so now. When you work in China, it means you get to learn Mandarin, you can develop skills, you can take those into careers in all sorts of different ways. We've had people become sort of marketers in China, we've had people become lawyers in China, we have people become senior people within the British government based on China policy. So China can take you anywhere.
So Thailand may not be a world superpower, just like China is, but it has so much else to offer. You know, maybe not as interesting politically, but in terms of culturally, it's just as rich, if not more rich than China. You know, they're similar on that level. It's so much influence from Buddhism, for example. You're walking around the streets and there's temples and pagodas and shrines. And it's so fascinating to be in a country where that kind of peaceful religion plays such an important role, influences people in many ways, and the ideology of the religion, which is generally, really nice with Buddhism in my opinion, kind of sinks through into daily life and really creates a really fascinating and interesting and pleasant culture to be around, and lovely people who are caring and interesting. It's really, really fascinating, and I feel after my time there, I changed it as a person in many ways, just from the influence of that wonderful culture.
That sounds amazing, and I also love Thailand, but I think salary is another factor that I know teachers find important. And salary in China starts, we work with different schools, so we work with primary schools, private kindergartens, after school centres, so there's variations in salary, but in general it's something like £1,500 per month or £1,700 per month, plus free housing as well, plus reimbursement of your flights to China and some of the visa work that you've done. So you get a really nice package, and China's quite unique in that way. So if you're making roughly like £1,600 a month in China, you can live really comfortably on that. There's a big holiday halfway through the year, so you can travel. But even besides travel, people save quite a lot of money, to take home. Because I get so many questions about people asking us, how do I take, a few £1,000s or, multiple thousands of pounds home from China? So that's always a good sign. Also, I would say, like China, because it's a well-paid teaching market, there's a real career that you can then have as a teacher in China. Because what I've just mentioned is the year one salaries in China. But when you get to year two or subsequent years, you'll get much higher salaries even than that. You have potential to work at international schools. So, career-wise, I met when I was in China earlier this year, I met with teachers who've been in China for 2 years, 3 years, 7 years. And that's because the salaries are so great, and it just makes sense to stay long term.
Okay, so it's undeniable that the salary in China is more than in Thailand. That's just a fact. But having lived in Thailand myself, I can tell you firsthand that the salary of around £800 a month is far more than enough to survive and thrive, maybe save a bit and travel. And being in Thailand, you have access to this incredibly beautiful country with jungles and beaches and amazing cities like Bangkok, Chiang Mai, which you can access with not too much expense. You can get the bus, get the coach, travel. So although you may not be able to save thousands of pounds a year like you can in China, you are in the heart of where you would want to be in terms of travel, if that's something that appeals to you, being in the heart of Southeast Asia. Malaysia's just a short flight away, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Indonesia's a bit further. So you're really in the heart of it. And yes, the salaries are lower, like we said, but the pressure of the teaching is also a lot less than China. It's not easy to be a teacher in Thailand. You do have to be versatile and be able to think on your feet, but the weight of pressure is significantly less than China. So you can enjoy the time with your students more rather than worrying necessarily about hitting targets.
It's true that, you know, Thailand is more relaxed in some ways. On the flip side, in China there tends to be more support and there's more choice. In China we work with state schools, private kindergartens, and also private training centers, especially in the latter two categories. You'll get a lot of training and a lot of support and evaluations and back and forth with your colleagues. They will give you lesson plans, they will give you a lot of feedback on what you're doing. So if that's important to you, China might be a better option for you. Also want to say, like, China is super exciting as a place to live. You know, I lived in Wuhan. Many of our teachers are in Shanghai and Shenzhen, and they're all cities of 10 million plus, and in Shanghai's case probably 20 million plus. So there's something new to do every night, every day. You can join clubs, there's fellow foreign teachers there. You'll never ever be bored, you'll never lack for anything to do because there's so much going on all the time in China. So yeah, in conclusion, I think China is just an incredible place, and I can't wait to go back to it in February.
It's true that Chinese cities are buzzing, exciting places, very similar to Bangkok, which is the capital of Thailand. It's one of my favorite cities. It is so exciting. Everywhere you look is interesting. Something interesting going on, or something you've never seen before, or some food they're cooking and you're wondering what it is. So Bangkok is very much similar to these amazing Chinese cities. Our placements are not in Bangkok at the moment. We're working on trying to get some in Bangkok. But our placements are generally in more rural areas. So places like Phetchabun and Dak, I'm not sure how to pronounce it properly. My Thai is still not great even after a year there. These are more rural, they're small towns. They're not villages by any stretch of the imagination. They are towns, very authentically Thai. You know, you really get to experience the culture. The food is the best food ever. It's great. Food, culture, genuine people. There's a real community. Within the school, there will be a community of other foreign teachers, often Filipino teachers, and other impact teachers potentially, or others. You know, there'll be a community of teachers which really bond close together with. But it is a more relaxed way of life compared to being in Shenzhen or Shanghai or Wuhan, you know, where there's so much going on. Where our placements are, they are calmer, but there's always a bar to go to if you want to do that. There's always, you know, the cinemas there. I'm not sure how your Thai is, but maybe start practicing now. There's always things to do, but it's at a calmer, slower pace. There's less options than in these big cities. However, the fact that there's so many holidays, long holidays, and then short kind of 4-day, 3-day long weekends, you can travel and you can go to other cities. I went to Bangkok once a month maybe, or a little bit less, but roughly. Really easy to travel. There's cities in the north, there's the coastal towns, you know, Phuket and all down the coast, which are stunning visually as well as a bit more vibrant. So you've got it all in Thailand. So it might be a quieter pace of life in the town where you work, but you can travel. That's the beauty. Anyway, I love Thailand. I also love China, but I think Thailand is a really special place. Magical people, magical scenery. You'll look around every day and pinch yourself, pretend like realizing it's real. It's great. The teaching's good fun. The students are amazing. The teachers are amazing. Thailand's great.
Yeah, so that's that. What do you think? I think, I must say, to be honest, I went to Thailand after my time in China on a holiday, and it was amazing as well. So they're both great. What do you reckon?
No, they both got pros and cons. So I think, hopefully this video helped a bit and gave you some more advice, and at least we told you our opinion, and hopefully that can help.
Yeah, and the next step in the process, if you do apply with us, is a 30 to 40 minute video call to chat all about this in much more detail even. So we'd love to talk to you more about all this.
Yeah, speak to you soon.
Cheers.